One of my most requested recipes is my recipe for my lemon cookies, my lemon iced cookies. I'm going to show you how I make them, and I will link the recipe for the icing. It's in a separate video. But if you want to know how to make these lemon cookies, stay tuned. I got the recipe for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to measure out my dry ingredients, and we're going to put in a separate bowl 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to measure that out. 1, 2, that's 3, that's 4.5. Okay, so 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour is the first thing we want to add in our bowl. We're going to set that to the side. Okay. Then next to this, we're going to add our salt and our baking powder. So I need a teaspoon each of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt into that. I gotta put baking powder on my list because I'm just about out. I've been baking so many of these lemon cookies, I'm about out. And a teaspoon, nice teaspoon of salt, right in the bowl. Okay, put that away. And then we're just gonna mix that up. Make sure to get evenly distributed. All right, mix that up, set that to the side. The next thing we want to do is get our lemon juice together. So I'm going to use this cup here just as a vessel. I'm not using it to actually measure anything, just as a vessel. So in here, I want to put 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay? We're going to have lemon flavor from 3 different sources in this recipe. First is 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. And to that, I want to add a 1/2 teaspoon of dehydrated lemon. Right in that. And then I'm going to add to that a teaspoon of lemon extract. Just like that. And then I need, last but not least, just a teaspoon of vanilla extract just to balance it out. All right, just like that. I'm going to give this a stir. And I'm going to heat this up in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to dissolve the lemon powder. And so let me heat this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I heated up my lemon juice. And we're just going to set it to the side to cool. In the meantime, in our mixer, we're going to add 4 sticks of softened butter. So yes, this recipe has a whole pound of butter in it. I normally get about 3 dozen cookies out of that. So if you don't need that many cookies, this recipe can be cut in half really easily. You can easily just take the measurements I'm giving you and just cut them in half, and you'll get about 12.5. So I normally almost always get exactly 3 dozen cookies using my 2-ounce cookie scoop. So that's that. We got 4 sticks of butter in our mixer. To that, we want to add 1.5 cups of white granulated sugar. 1.5 cups of white granulated sugar. And we're going to cream that together. And this, once you get all your ingredients together, it comes together quickly. So let me cream this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my butter and sugar creamed together. This only took like maybe about a couple minutes and it looks like this. So we got that together. Now we want to add our eggs. And to this we're going to add 2 teaspoons of eggs. Did you hear me say 2 teaspoons of eggs? Lord have mercy. 2 large eggs. Get it together. We'll add these one at a time. Okay, so now that my eggs are in, I'm just going to scrape down my bowl, the size of my bowl here, as well as the paddle, just to ensure everything is being thoroughly mixed. And like I said, at this point, it really comes together fairly quickly. If you make cookies all the time from scratch, you know it's really not hard and it doesn't take a long time. It's not a lot to it. It's just a matter of gathering all your ingredients ahead of time and making sure everything is ready to go. So now that that's all scraped, at this point what I want to do, and this is totally optional, I want to put a little bit of my yellow food coloring in there, and you do not have to add this because it doesn't do anything for the flavor. It's totally for color purposes only. But I'm just, and you know, if you do decide to put this in there, how much you put in there is totally up to you. I generally just put just a touch. That's it. Some people tint the cookies. Some people tint the icing instead. The most important thing about this is do it at this stage. Don't put it in after the flour. Because if you put the food coloring in after the flour, it grabs onto the flour and tends to make the cookies burn a little bit. So I like to do it at this stage. So we'll get that going. Make sure it's fully incorporated if you do this step before you add the flour, okay? Because after this, everything else is just dump and mix, dump and mix. Don't take long at all. All right. So, not neon yellow, but to me that is lemon yellow. That is lemon yellow. But again, like I said before, adding the food color is totally optional. It's not even necessary. It's not like it's going to change the flavor. It's only for aesthetics. So, you know, you can skip this part altogether. See? Not too much. So now that we have that in there, it's gravy from here. We only have a couple more ingredients to add. This is our flour, and we're going to add that in all at once. This is a cookie dough, so there's no need to do 1 cup at a time or a little at a time. Just go on and add it in there. And as that gets to mixing, I will from there slowly drizzle in my lemon juice. There's one ingredient left to add, and that's going to be like a couple tablespoons of milk. Now, 1 or 2, and that's the part that's tricky. Might need 1, might need 2. It depends on the dough. Let me crank this up while I get my milk. So I want to show you what the dough looks like before I add the milk. So it's pretty much ready right now. It's looking pretty good, so I think I may only need 1 tablespoon of milk. This is the part that I really have to eyeball. I normally use between 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk, depending on what my dough looks like. And so right now, it's pretty much looking like what I need it to look like. And I'll show you that. See? Okay. I'm going to add just a tablespoon of milk because I don't want it any looser than what it is. It's pretty much what we're going for is making a sugar cookie dough that's scoopable, because we're not rolling these out. We're going to scoop them. So that's what we're going for. So for this, what I do is I add evaporated milk. You can use whatever milk you like. Normally, this is evaporated milk. Normally, when I open up a can and I don't use it all, I just put it in a little jar and keep it in the refrigerator. So that's it. That's all this needs. We're going to give it a go, and then we're going to scoop them up. And so the dough is pretty much done. It is done. Just going to scrape the paddle down. And like I said before, that last part with the milk, the recipe is 1 to 2 tablespoons, okay? And so you're going to have to be the judge of that, because what you want, this is basically a sugar cookie dough, but a scoopable one, because we're not going to chill it. We're not going to roll it out. So you need it to get to a soft consistency without being too soft. And so I think what the determining factor is with how much milk you put is going to be how soft your butter is. So mine was pretty soft. So my dough is pretty scoopable. And I use this 2-ounce scoop that I have right here. Whenever I do that, almost always get exactly 3 dozen out of this recipe. All right, so even though it's scoopable, just like that, I'm still going to take them, and you can fit, if you use the 2-ounce scoop, you can put exactly 1 dozen on the tray. But you still want to take your fingers and smash it down a little bit. This is that kind of dough where you're going to want to smash it down a little bit so it doesn't bake in a ball. So I'm going to go ahead and finish scooping these out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we want to bake these in a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, okay? And then when they come out, there is a lemon icing recipe for these. We'll go over that. So I'm going to put this tray in the oven. I'm going to continue to scoop out the rest of my dough, and I'll be right back. So all 3 dozen are now out of the oven. Again, like I said, I baked these at 350 for 10 to 12 minutes. If you put 2 pans in at the same time, you want to rotate them at the halfway mark. And I do ice these with a lemon icing. I will link the video for that in the description box. I want to thank you for watching my video. Please like and share it and give it a thumbs up. If you try this recipe, let me know.